Hello and welcome to today's LexPol webinar, Empowering Policing, initiating body-worn camera or in-car video program for your police agency. We're going to be getting started in just a moment or so. We want to thank our sponsors for today's webinar, Kustom Signals. We appreciate their sponsorship of today's event. We appreciate them being here with us today. Send in your questions at any time using the questions box that you see. Here is a brief overview of what we're going to be talking about today. We've got a really great presentation for you and a lot of great information coming your way. So we hope you enjoy this. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, Kustom Signals. And before we get started, you'll see a poll up on the screen here. If you'd be so kind to make a selection on that, let us know if you currently have a video program. You can see the poll up there on the screen. And there's about 6 different options there. You're so nice, so kind to make a selection for us. That would be wonderful. Again, thanks to Kustom Signals for being here with us. We're going to have a Q&A at the end of the hour, about the last 15 minutes or so. Now, you can send in your questions anytime you'd like, but please note we'll be waiting until the last bit of the hour to do the presentation, the questions for the presentation. We'll just give you a couple of minutes here or so to make a selection there. This webinar is being recorded, and we're going to follow up with you tomorrow with a link to the recording if you want to share it with your colleagues or your friends. That recording will be coming your way tomorrow. Okay, let's see how the poll shook out here. Right, you can see the results up there on the screen. Okay, looks like we do have almost a quarter of everybody have a body-worn and in-car video program. And so you can see the rest of the results up there. So thanks for participating in our poll. We do appreciate you letting us know where you're at in your program journey. And at this point, I am going to welcome our first presenter here on the webinar, and that is going to be Captain Dale Robertson of the Manchester, Tennessee Police Department. Captain Robertson has been in law enforcement since 2007, starting off working corrections as well as holding several positions such as patrol officer, K-9 officer, patrol sergeant, and patrol officer. As the administrative captain, he serves as a general department instructor, quartermaster, supervising the SRO program, managing the FTO program, helping with grants, and to create and maintain department policies. Captain Robertson's agency has recently launched Kustom Signals Argus body-worn camera and in-car video platform. And he has agreed to sit down with us today and talk through some of the decisions his agency had to make when choosing their new video platform. So we've got some really great real-world information here for you. Welcome, Dale. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Good afternoon, Steve.
Okay, wonderful. First off, Dale, let us know, were there any unforeseen challenges when you began your purchasing process? What was that like for your department?
Well, we began this last time looking in body cameras and updating our in-car cameras probably in 2020. And I mean, I can't really remember that far back, but we've looked at everything, and our biggest concern was budgets and monies and trying to figure out where our money would come from to make the purchase.
All right. Were there any unforeseen bumps in the road? Did you was there anything that surprised you?
You cut out there.
Was there anything in this process that really surprised you that going through the process?
Yeah, just the biggest thing was finding the monies and the budgets, and on the we wanted to, and that was finding the funds for the initial purchase.
Okay, thanks, Dale. So next question for you here. Why did you choose to update this equipment?
Where our old in-car camera systems we've had for several years, and it was dated and time to upgrade the server, and we wanted to look into a compatibility with the body camera and in-car system, and we found the Argus system that met our needs.
Okay. Next question here for you, Dale. How did you determine the technical requirements for your agency?
One of the big things we were looking for was usability with the admin side, dealing with putting them in and setting them up, and then also the user side, trying to make sure it's easy to use dashboards and be able to review videos for report writing and things like that.
Okay. Next question here, Dale. What features were important to your staff regarding body worn and in-car video?
So, I mean, good quality video, the playback and dependability of the equipment. Um, when I said audio and video recording, make sure high quality of that. So, just high definition, best we could find. And
Okay.
the syncing of the body camera and the in-car system.
Okay. Now, this next question I'm actually very curious about here, Dale. Were there any important policy changes you had to implement alongside the new equipment? How did that work out for you?
Yes, I mean, we had body cameras, I think in 2014, and we had a policy in place, which it was very dated. With times, we've pretty much did away with that whole policy and rewrote a new policy, and then also have a separate policy for our SROs, which are also have body cameras now.
Okay, thank you. So next question here. How has the implementation of your new video system changed the administrative duties of your agencies? Has this required additional training? I have to assume that there was a whole host of things that you had to do.
So, I mean, making sure that we had enough storage and everything, finding the right amount of time that we want to keep things depending on court cases, and making sure that we still had the data for the court cases. So we've set our retentions depending on the type of offense and type of call to see how long we take it or keep it. And then with the Argus system, you can actually save it so it does not, if it's something that's going to be needed at a later date, you can save it and take it out of that retention policy. And that's really helped us as admin wise to make sure that we don't lose videos that we may need in the future, and put some responsibility on the officers itself.
Right, thank you. Moving along to our next question here. How have your officers reacted to the deployment of your new equipment?
We've had really good feedback. The officers like to be able to get in and review the video, save it, and review it prior to court. We're still working on our full rollout. We have probably about 50% of our body cameras out, and about 50% of our in-car cameras out. So we're still in our rollout, but the officers are like the compatibility of seeing the body camera view and the in-car camera view, and be able to review those footages.
All right, Dale, thank you very much. A lot of great information. We really appreciate it. Okay, we're going to move on to our next presenter here, and our next presenter is Colin McIver, and Colin is from Kustom Signals. Colin works with agencies of all sizes to design custom solutions and help with deploying the Argus body-worn camera, Argus in-car video, and Argus Data Vault platform. So at this point, I'm going to turn the floor over to Colin. Welcome. Colin, you're on mute. Not hearing you, Colin.
Thank you, Steve. Can you hear me now? All right, awesome. Well, thanks again, Steve, and thank you, Captain Robertson, for joining us today. So now that we've discussed the importance of body-worn and in-car video programs and what one agency has done to implement their own video program, let's take some time to focus on one foundational aspect, and that's hardware requirements. Your agency's hardware needs will depend on various factors, including the size of your force, operational requirements, and budget constraints. Here are some key considerations to focus on as we go through this today. The first is to determine whether your agency is going to require body-worn cameras, in-car video systems, or a combination of both. With this, you should consider how your agency would use these products, both separately and or together. Body-worn cameras are great for capturing video evidence based on the perspective of the officer, whereas in-car video systems can be crucial for traffic and patrol divisions. In addition to considering your needs for the cameras themselves, you should also keep in mind how you want to handle the data transfer for each type of camera system. When it comes to in-car video systems, local wireless transfers are a great option for many agencies, as they can be configured to transfer files automatically when an officer returns to the station during or after their shift. Mobile routers are another great option to consider, since the cellular connection allows these systems to transfer files from anywhere with cellular coverage. On the body-worn side of things, docking stations are the best option for these devices, as they allow the body-worn cameras to transfer files and charge the unit simultaneously. Wireless or cellular file transfer is also an option to consider, but keep in mind that can impact the battery life of these devices. Along with different options for how files are transferred, your agency will need to determine which features are most important based on your needs. Body-worn cameras and in-car video systems alike can come with numerous features and functions that empower your officers to focus on what's important rather than whether or not their technology is working properly. For example, Argus BWCs and ICVs are equipped with a multitude of customizable features, such as live swap capable batteries for the body cameras, automatic triggers based on specific events, and bidirectional communication that allows both devices to activate recording simultaneously to ensure incidents are captured from every perspective. In addition to determining which features are most important to you and how you want files to transfer from these devices, your agency should also have a good understanding of your current network and IT infrastructure. A lot of agencies can make use of existing technology to assist with the development and implementation of new video programs. Your IT resources should be able to answer any questions you may have regarding your current infrastructure. When it comes to reviewing video evidence, one factor to keep in mind is how you want to manage access throughout your agency. Whether it's through a centralized workstation or from the existing computers in your offices, having policies and a plan in place will make the implementation of your video program easier. Body-worn cameras and in-car video systems are not the only hardware factor that comes into play. The other major component of updating or developing a new video program is data storage. With any video system, there are some considerations you should focus on. First, you should determine whether you want to have a cloud-hosted solution or if you prefer to keep it on-site. Cloud-hosted solutions are great for agencies who do not want to maintain an on-site server and storage. Furthermore, by choosing a cloud-hosted solution, you do not need to worry about data backups or archiving files that must be retained for long periods of time, as these deployments are designed to manage those tasks automatically. Conversely, on-site solutions can often help agencies stay within budget constraints they may be faced with. However, on-site deployments will require you to maintain the hardware that is installed at your agency and ensure your IT infrastructure is suitable for your data storage and backup needs. Custom Signals offers Argus Data Vault as a cloud-hosted or on-site solution, without losing any features or capabilities by choosing one or the other. Regardless of which option you decide to go with, you can rest easy knowing that your agency will always retain ownership of the video evidence in your Argus Data Vault server. Another key component you will need to plan for is the retention policies for your video evidence. Depending on your location and the type of agency you are, you may have to write these policies in accordance with local, state, or federal laws and regulations. Many jurisdictions already have these policies in place or may have suggested guidelines for you to follow as you create policies specific to your agency. If you are uncertain about this or how to start writing these policies, please reach out to our sales team for assistance. One of the biggest difficulties that agencies around the world are faced with is funding. And this is especially true when it comes to developing or updating a video program. Your agency may need to work with city councils or other governing bodies to secure proper funding. This will also be a determining factor for your decision to go with a cloud-hosted or on-site solution, as there are different costs associated with each. Cloud-hosted solutions are contract-based and typically include annual service and storage fees, but can give you more structure as you plan your yearly budgets. On the other hand, On-site deployments are typically purchased upfront as a one-time payment and do not include recurring fees outside of extended warranties, add-ons, or the like. This option is a great alternative for agencies who are more limited on the funding that may be available to them. One thing to keep in mind, Kustom Signals is a proud partner of PoliceOne and Lexipol and the grant finder services they offer. Later on, Michael Bertucci will speak about how these services can help your agency secure funding through the numerous grants that you may qualify for. As you examine your data storage needs and weigh the pros and cons of cloud-hosted versus on-site solutions, it will be crucial for your agency to have a good understanding of your data storage needs. In today's age of technology, the amount of data collected every day is constantly increasing. Planning for the future is necessary to ensure you will always be able to capture the video evidence you need. There are several variables that must be looked at when calculating the amount of storage your agency will need. These may include the number of cameras deployed, average length, the number of recordings per device, video resolution, retention policies, and any other factors that may impact the amount of storage required. Agencies who already have video programs in place can make use of the historical data from their current systems, which will give you a good understanding of what you will need going forward. For those who are interested in starting a new video program, Kustom Signals is happy to help you work through these based on our long history of working with agencies on their storage requirements for their video programs. Feel free to reach out to our sales team with assistance on determining your storage needs. By carefully assessing these hardware considerations and storage options, you can implement a robust storage solution that ensures the integrity, accessibility, and security of your agency's video data. Now, I would like to introduce our video product manager, Kiefer Ware, who will take us through the software requirements related to updating or developing a new video program. Kiefer?
Thank you, Colin, for that. I wanted to talk a bit about software requirements that your agency and your deployment might need. Effective software is the backbone of any successful body-worn or in-car video deployment. It not only helps in managing the vast amounts of video data that these systems will generate, but also allows for evidence sharing, redaction, and ensures compliance with legal standards. At the end of the day, software should enhance your overall operational efficiency. A robust video management system is essential for organizing, indexing, and searching through video footage efficiently. Your video management software or evidence management software must provide a user-friendly interface for reviewing and managing footage. On top of that, powerful search capabilities to quickly locate specific incidents. As I mentioned previously, body-worn cameras and in-car video systems will generate a significant amount of video footage, and not having the ability to manage that data will quickly become a bottleneck for your resources. Argus Data Vault is here to create efficiencies and ensure your video footage is manageable. Now, one of the key features you're going to want to look for in your software package is redaction. Redaction tools are crucial for protecting the privacy of individuals captured in video footage. When selecting a software vendor, keep in mind advanced redaction capabilities that go above and beyond manual redaction and object tracking. These items should specifically allow you to blur or mask sensitive information such as faces, license plates, or other identifying features. Audio redaction is another tool that should be at your disposal. Having the ability to ensure sensitive audio information can be protected is more powerful than you'd think. Argus Data Vault allows users to not only perform these tasks manually, but leverages the power of artificial intelligence to automatically conduct facial recognition and redaction. This saves valuable resource time by not having to perform a manual redaction on every face that must be blurred. When a user completes a redaction with Argus Data Vault, it creates an entirely new piece of evidence, ensuring that the original file is never modified in any way. Sharing is also a key feature that is sometimes overlooked when determining your software selection. The ability to share evidence data internally within your agency and externally outside of your agency. You should allow for secure and efficient sharing of video footage with authorized personnel, including prosecutors, defense attorneys, or other law enforcement agencies. In addition, it should support controlled sharing while maintaining chain of custody and audit trails. This feature eliminates the need for copying evidence to a physical medium such as a DVD or USB drive, ensuring chain of custody is maintained for that footage and removes the need for any additional software to be installed on the recipient's PC. Argus Data Vault supports all these features and more. It allows for controlled sharing of evidence to external or internal recipients as necessary. All the while, every user interaction is logged and reports can be generated based on your needs. Now, with all these tools and options at your disposal, it would be worth taking a moment to discuss access controls. Effective access control mechanisms are necessary for ensuring that only authorized personnel can access, view, or modify video footage. Your software should offer granular access control features, allowing you to define user roles, permissions, and privileges based on responsibilities and your organizational hierarchy. For example, your evidence custodian might have a bit more user privileges available to them than, say, a part-time officer. Argus Data Vault supports a comprehensive multi-tiered user permission solution, allowing for administrators to define roles and responsibilities quickly and easily. This isn't something that is set in stone. These roles and permissions are entirely modifiable by administrators to ensure you have as few or many roles as needed, and their level of access is entirely appropriate. Those are just some of the key requirements to keep in mind when selecting software for your body-worn camera and in-car video program. Other factors to consider might be compatibility with your existing hardware infrastructure, scalability to accommodate your future growth or expansion, compliance with industry standards and regulations, and the availability of technical support and training resources. In summary, investing in the right software solution is crucial for the success of your body-worn and in-car video deployment. By choosing software that offers comprehensive features such as video management, redaction, sharing, and comprehensive access controls, you can streamline your operations and ensure compliance with legal or regulatory requirements, all of which will surely result in a successful video program. Now, we've invited Michael Vertucci from Lexipol's Grant Finder program to tell us how agencies can get free grant assistance through the Kustom Signals Grant Finder portal. Michael, take it away.
Thanks, Kiefer. Hi, everybody. As Kiefer just mentioned, my name is Michael Vertucci, and I'm on the grants team here at Lexipol. What my team is responsible for is partnering with agencies who are looking to get funding for Kustom Signals projects and help them find that grant funding. Now, there is a place to get started if you're interested in finding funding for your Kustom Signals project. We do want you to fill out this very short two-step form. We do support Kustom Signals customers with finding grants for speed enforcement, the in-car video, as well as body cameras. We do ask that you visit policegrantshelp.com to fill out that short form so my team can get engaged with you and start helping your agency navigate the grant funding that is available. Now, once you do submit this form, there are some things that will happen after that. My team will reach out to you within 72 hours with a phone call. Your agency is automatically signed up for a free version of Grant Finder. Think of Grant Finder as a database of grants where your agency can see which grants we are tracking that work best for body cameras, or work best for speed enforcement, or work best for in-car video. So we specifically tag these grants based on Kustom Signals solutions, so you're able to see which grants are the most relevant to their solution set. Grant Finder is also going to send you alerts when these grant programs open up or when a new grant program is added into Grant Finder. My team comes in with the coaching and the grant application help. Again, because of our partnership with Kustom Signals, this coaching and grant application help is available to your agency at no cost. You can work with our expert grant writers to help find the best funding solution for your Kustom Signals project. Our team will start by helping you find and identify the best grant program, make sure that you and your leadership and your team understand that grant program, understand the requirements for that grant, and then review your application before you submit. Once you've selected a grant, it's always good to have a professional grant writer look over your work and provide your agency with feedback. There's no limit to the amount of times your agency can interact with our team. Utilize Grant Finder, utilize the coaching and grant application help, and get on a call with one of our grant writers. Ongoing support is where we will continue to nurture you until you find funding. We will continue to reach out until you're able to successfully secure grant funding. And so we are going to continue to reach out with grants from Grant Finder, but also offering those consultation calls to help move the ball forward. We understand that you're very busy individuals, you're working on many projects at once. And so we want to do everything we can to help make sure we're advancing this project forward. And if it ends up needing help with actually writing the grant, well, we do that as well. And that is our only fee-based service, but we give a discount to all agencies who need help with writing grants for custom signals. It is important to note the very most important part of a grant is finding the grant, selecting the grant, understanding the grant from your agency standpoint, and utilizing our coaching and grant application help. If there is an area where you need help getting across the finish line with grant writing, we can step in and assist with that. Our grant writers do work often with agencies directly to fill out that application on their own. But of course, if you want to fill it out on your own, then you can use that free review service. Now, it's also important to note the power of this Grant Finder tool and that you will have access to at no cost. Grant Finder is already pre-screening these grants and filtering them for custom signals projects or products. You're not going to see grants that aren't relevant to your body camera project or your in-car project or your speed enforcement project. It's also going to show you valuable information about the grant. When is it going to be announced? When are the deadlines for this grant? It's going to alert you about grants that are coming up. So again, you don't have to even log into this database. It's going to send your email a weekly alert on which grants are available for your custom signals project. We really want to emphasize that you can use this tool at no cost. Most agencies have to pay for this, but because of our partnership with Custom Signals, you have access to this database at no cost. I did also want to highlight some of the strategies that we take when looking at grants. The first thing to understand is we know there's a lot of federal funding out there, and we do talk about those grants with your agency. But we also look at state grant programs. We look at the funding available in your specific state. We'll discuss that on these consultation calls. We also talk about corporate and community foundations. There's a lot of corporate and community foundations out there that are funding these projects, and we can specifically take a look at your community, what corporations are in your community, what foundations are in your community that would make sense for your agency to target for potential funding. Now, again, I did want to mention the most important thing is to fill out both of those forms to get started in the process with the Lexipol Grants team. Again, those forms will get my team to engage with you and give you a phone call, but it also gets you set up with that free database of Grant Finder for your agency. And then we do want to make sure that you're staying engaged with the Custom Signals team. You will need some type of cost estimate on your project to submit grants. So please stay engaged with the Custom Signals team to get that cost estimate. Let them know when you're working on the grant or submitting a grant so they're in the loop to know when to get you that purchase order when you do get the funding. And as I mentioned before, my team is available for you to utilize as much as you need. It is unlimited service. Our goal is to help you get funding for your Custom Signals project. So don't feel like you're overutilizing the service. Please reach out to us, engage with us, get on these calls, utilize Grant Finder, and we will help nurture your team to funding for the Custom Signals project. All right, Steve, I think I'll pass it back over to you for the next question.
Okay, everybody, you can see we got a poll up there on the screen there for you. Let us know how you plan to primarily fund your next video purchase. You can see a couple options up there on the screen. So if you'd be so kind to make a selection from there. We're also going to be having our Q&A portion coming up very soon. So if you want to send in any questions for the team, please do so using the Q&A spot on your icon that you can see there at the bottom of your screen. And we'll just give you a minute or so to make a couple selections here, if you would be so kind to make a selection there about how you primarily will fund your next video purchase. Okay, let's see how we did here. Okay, looks like a lot of people, over half, aren't sure yet. Fair enough. I hope this presentation has been helpful, possibly in steering you in a correct direction. It looks like the next most popular selection was budgeted allocation. So everybody, thank you for responding to our polls. We do appreciate it. It's very good feedback for us. And speaking of discussion, it is time for the question period of this webinar. So send in questions using that little icon that you can see on your screen there. And team, if you are ready, we will jump into the questions, okay? Let's see. Okay, the first question here for you, team, is as follows. How many days can the body cam go without needing charging? And as a follow-up to that, within how much time would the car and body camera need system updates? And I can repeat that one for you if you need me to.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I'll go ahead and I'll take that question. So the Argus BWCs, you can get about up to 12 hours of record time per battery. But one of the really unique features with the Argus BWC is the ability to live swap the battery. That means that you can have the device fully powered on and continue recording while you're swapping that battery out for a fresh one. That way you can get another full charge and not have to worry about those units dying halfway through your shift or not working as intended. So that's a great feature to have for those units. And as for updates with the in-car video systems and the body-worn cameras themselves, here at Kustom Signals, we'll typically push out firmware updates and software updates every 3 to 6 months or so, depending on how the engineering team is working on each of those and everything like that. So it's not all that often, but it's not never.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Colin. Next question here for you, team. If we don't have a dedicated IT person, will it be possible to have a video program?
Yeah, absolutely. Our team at Kustom Signals will work with you and your agency to ensure that your video program meets your needs and is implemented successfully. In addition to what we offer up front, we have a dedicated technical support personnel available to assist with any issues you may have during the installation or after the installation. So you don't have to worry about not having a dedicated IT person. We'll help you along the way.
Okay. Next question here for you. How do we transition from one vendor to another?
Transitioning from one vendor to another can definitely seem daunting, but it can often be easier by ensuring you have a proper plan in place. Our sales team and our sales engineering teams will be there every step of the way to ensure that your video program meets your needs. Whatever they may be, we'll work with you to ensure that the body cameras, the in-car video systems, and the software are set up and configured the way you want them, the way you need them. As for the transition period, a lot of agencies will often run both systems simultaneously until they're ready to sunset the old system and the transition is fully complete to the new system.
Okay, thanks, Colin. Everybody send in your questions there. Well, we got plenty of time for questions here, so anything you want to ask the team. Let's roll on here, see what the next question is here. What should I look for in regards to warranties for video hardware?
A great question. So we worked pretty closely with our sales team and experience with working with agencies for quite a long time, and we developed a no-fault warranty for our products. That covers any and all damage that your device may sustain. Given that the body-worn cameras are going to be out and about, that's going to be a very important thing to look for. This offering gives you the confidence to focus on the task at hand and keep your officers safe by keeping them equipped with the tools they need, not having to worry about things breaking or bits falling off if they may.
Okay. Next question here. How can we avoid restrictive contracts?
Another great question. So our contract-based video programs, they were also designed with agencies of all sizes in mind. Specifically, agencies who choose Kustom Signals as their vendor, they will retain ownership of their video evidence files, even if you decide to move to another video vendor down the road. Like Colin mentioned before, we often help agencies transition from one system to another. So we're all there to help you out any way you can.
Okay. Kiefer, where do you see this technology going? Are more agencies adopting this technology, and is this going to be pretty commonplace in the near future, or what does the future hold for us?
Yeah, it's a great question, Steve. So what we're seeing is a trend across the board where most agencies in the U.S. and domestically are being required by law to have to adopt a lot of either body-worn cameras, in-car videos, or both in some instances. So given that, we worked pretty extensively to make sure that our hardware is available to all agencies of various sizes, as I mentioned before. So given that, pricing is obviously a very important factor, but having the latest capabilities as far as connectivity with 4G, wireless transferring, batteries that last at least a officer's shift is very important things to keep in mind.
Okay. What would you say, you just mentioned the magic word connectivity. What would you recommend for some of our colleagues who live in a bit more of a rural area, a lot of mountains, a lot of space between towers and things like that? What about connectivity issues in geographical situations like that?
Yes, that can be problematic for some agencies. We always recommend agencies to dock their hardware or perform manual transfers for a multitude of reasons. Key takeaways would be that when you dock the device, you're most likely in your station anyways. So your transfer speeds will be faster. The device will charge while it's transferring as well. There is obviously wireless offloading and wireless uploading capabilities supported by the Argus body-worn camera and Argus in-car video solutions. And we also support wireless transfer via the use of a mobile router. But manual uploading is always available to our devices for those customers who don't necessarily have connectivity available to them.
Okay, thank you. Next question here. If changing vendors, can the new vendor, quote, inherit storage of pre-existing videos, or will the agency have to maintain storage with the previous vendor until the retention policy allows for all pre-existing evidence to be purged? And that's a bit of a mouthful, so if you need me to repeat it, I'm happy to.
That's all right. That's a great question, and one that we get all the time from customers who are considering switching their video vendor. The one thing to keep in mind with video technology in general is as long as it's not proprietary data, meaning that it requires specific encryption keys or things like that in order to access or view those files, for the most part, they can be played using any video system or video player. And so as for inheriting or transitioning those files from one system to another, that definitely can be possible. Our Argus Data Vault software does allow for external file uploads. So they don't have to be files that come from our body-worn cameras or from our in-car video systems. You can upload any video files, pictures, images, documents, things like that very easily through our platform. And then use Argus Data Vault to manage and access all those evidence files going forward.
All right. Next question. What are the camera views for the body camera and in-car camera lenses? Are they 180 degrees, wide, panoramic? What is the stats on that?
Another great question. So I'll take the body camera first. And with those units, they have a field of view of 138 degrees, which is just slightly lower than what the average human eye sees out of your periphery. Average human eye is about 140, 145 degrees or so. So these cameras, they're designed to capture everything that the officer would see regardless of the situation. That even includes nighttime operations or night shift officers. These devices perform very well in low light conditions, capturing everything that the officer is seeing in front of them. As for the in-car video system, the Argus ICV has a couple camera units that it can be equipped with. The first of which is our HD dual cam, which has two cameras in one unit. It gives you a wide angle lens at 165 degrees and a narrow or telephoto lens at around 45 degrees. That telephoto lens is actually built into an adjustable cylinder that you can rotate side to side to ensure that you're capturing everything in front of the vehicle. So you get two perspectives of the front of the vehicle. One wide angle lens capturing everything, and one focused lens that you can point to side. It's great for traffic stops and things like that, where you can adjust it to the side of the vehicle that the officer is going to approach. That way you capture what's going on specifically with them and everything that's happening around the vehicle. In addition to that, we also have an HD interior cam that's usually mounted in the rear seat of patrol vehicles, or sometimes in a cage or things like that. That camera unit has a field of view of 165 degrees. It's the widest camera lens I've seen in an in-car video system to date, capable of capturing everything that's going on in those vehicles. We have had a lot of success mounting those camera units anywhere that agencies might need them in those rear seats, the middle of the cage, above either the rear view or the rear side windows. It's going to be able to see everything floor to ceiling, post to post, even front windshield to back windshield. So very wide angle lens on that one. That camera also includes an infrared LED to allow capturing video footage even in low light conditions. It'll automatically illuminate that when it detects low light and make sure that it's recording and capturing everything that's happening in the back seat.
So talk a little bit more about that, Colin. You mentioned low light conditions. Seems like a lot of crimes take place after dark. So talk a little bit more about the low light capabilities. Yeah,
absolutely. So all of our camera units, from the two options with the in-car video system to what the body-worn camera is equipped with, they all perform exceptionally well in low light conditions. On the body-worn side of things, it does not include an infrared LED. And the reason for that is to ensure that it's only capturing what the officer is seeing. Body cameras that have infrared LEDs built into them, they're capable of seeing more than what our human eyes can see. And so there can be issues with court cases and the like, questioning, well, the video shows what happened. Why didn't the officer see that? Well, that's why we decided to not add an infrared LED to that body-worn camera, but it does still capture video footage in low light conditions quite well. And for the in-car video system, the same is true for the front-facing cameras. It's going to perform exceptionally well in low light conditions, capturing everything that's going on and everything that the officer may or may not see out of the front of their vehicle. The only camera unit that we offer that includes an infrared LED is that HD interior camera I was talking about. And the reason for that is there are often times to where you need to know what's going on in the back seat, especially if an officer is transporting someone that is in the back seat. That officer is going to be focused on the road. They need to ensure that what's going on behind them is being recorded and captured. That way they can review it later on, or even monitor what's going on in the back seat directly from the tablet display that the Argus ICV comes with.
All right, thank you. Next question here. Can your program allow for two camera systems that have been downloaded to link together for case purposes?
Great, another great question, and the answer is yes, absolutely. So there's a couple points to that I would like to cover. The first of which is with a combination of our Argus BWC and Argus ICV. You can have those devices paired together. That way they are working seamlessly, capturing everything that's going on from every perspective, and even activating each other remotely, which is a great feature to have on those devices. When those devices are paired together and those files have been transferred to Argus Data Vault, you'll be presented with one video evidence file rather than multiple. That way you can watch the playback of the body-worn camera and the in-car video system at the same time, listen to either audio channel based on what you need to hear or review, making it very easy for you guys to see everything that's going on with each of those incidents. As for linking specific evidence files together, Argus Data Vault includes a full case management system as well, allowing you to go in, create cases using your report IDs or incident IDs or whatever information you and your agency currently use to identify each of those cases. Once that case is built, you can go through the evidence files, add any and all files that you want to be associated together, and it'll present you with all of those files in one clean and easy to review page.
Okay. Colin, some of our colleagues are not as tech savvy or tech interested as others. We won't mention any names, but what advice would you give if an agency is perhaps starting up a program like this, and these folks have to learn how to work this technology? What advice would you give for a situation like that?
What advice would I give them? I think the best advice I can give is you don't need to worry about it as much as you might be worried about it. Our devices are very user-friendly. Our software within Argus Data Vault is very user-friendly. It's very easy to learn. It's very easy to master, regardless of what you need to do with it. If you're just simply trying to search for and review video evidence files, great. If you want to learn a lot more of the more advanced features like automatic face redaction or manual redaction or case management, file sharing, things like that, it's still just as easy. In addition to how easy it is, our team at Kustom Signals, we have a lot of great people dedicated to assisting with any issues that you may face during the installation, after the installation. Maybe it's 2 years later and you have a question about how to do something. You can reach out to us at any time. We'd be happy to get those questions answered for you. When it comes to installation of these systems, we do include both officer and administrator training, whether you want that to be on site at your agency or if you would prefer to have a virtual training session. We can do both, and we'll ensure that your team is properly trained and ready to deploy and start using these devices.
Okay, you mentioned a couple different facets of what we've been talking about here. So, like, what are some of your top ones, your favorite portions of it? Like you mentioned, redaction, things like that. What are some of your favorite portions of it?
When it comes to the software, one of the coolest features is definitely the automatic facial redaction process that has been built into Argus Data Vault. It makes the redaction process in general a lot more efficient and a lot easier for anyone to do. You can take any video file that you have transferred to that system and open it up in redaction, and then click one button. Our system, that software, will scan the entire video file, detect any faces that are in frame, automatically create redaction objects around those faces, and then present you with a full list of them once it's done. That way you can go back, review them. If you need some faces visible, you can remove those redaction objects. You can manually add more, redact any audio portions, and then generate a new copy of that original video file with all those redactions included. That's one of the coolest features about Argus Data Vault. And in addition to that, live streaming is another great feature that the Argus camera devices and Argus Data Vault have, giving you the ability to know right away when something's going on that you need to take a look at or assist with. Even if you're stuck at the station for whatever reason, you'd be able to pull up Argus Data Vault, see on a map exactly where your officers are located, and any of those officers that are currently recording incidents, you would be able to live stream what's going on from both their body-worn camera and from their in-car video system.
Well, that is fascinating. That sounds like a really awesome feature for this.
Yeah, it definitely
Colin,
is.
Got time for a couple more questions here, and everybody, if you got any questions, send them in using the Q&A box there. Next question, Colin. How long is this material stored? Is it stored in perpetuity, or is there a sort of an expiration date for the data that's captured?
That's entirely up to agencies and their jurisdiction. A lot of agencies, depending on the state you're in or the town, city that you're in, those areas may already have policies and regulations in place that agencies have to abide by. But as long as they are writing their policies for how long video evidence files need to be retained for, as long as those are in accordance with any local, state, or federal laws and regulations, it's entirely up to the agency and their needs. We have some agencies that have retention policies between 30 and 90 days. We have other agencies that have some that have to be retained indefinitely. With our Argus Data Vault software, you will have the ability to create classifications for any type of video evidence that you may encounter. And each of those classifications will receive its own retention policy that you can configure at any time as an administrator, update down the road if you need to. But ultimately, that's up to the agency to determine those needs.
So talk a little bit more about that, Colin. You're just talking about classification. What is that, and how does that look like?
So classifications, they're essentially a list of labels that are applied to video files based on the type of evidence that they are. It could be a felony or a misdemeanor or a traffic stop or whatever you want them to be classified as. There is no set number of classifications that you're limited to, or what they can be named, what their retention policies can be. That is entirely up to the agency and the administrative teams to determine during the time of installation, or maybe they want to change their minds later on. That's okay too. You will have the ability to control all of that at any time as an administrator.
All right, thank you. The really interesting question here. The question is, does the system encrypt video file if it is sent by email to a DA's office, or what is the process around that? So I can imagine there's a lot of shifting around of this information. How does that look?
Yeah, so when it comes to sharing video evidence files outside of your agency, there are a couple ways that you can go about doing that. You can always export any and all evidence files that you need to share. You can burn those to a DVD, put them on a USB flash drive, put them on your own cloud hosting storage if you have a local Argus Data Vault deployment. That's completely up to you. Or you can make use of the easy to use email file sharing service that's built into Argus Data Vault. That would allow you to open up any evidence file, type an email address in, set an availability date or validity date that is essentially an expiration for the link that the recipient will receive. And then you can even change whether or not you want to allow that recipient to download a copy of that evidence for themselves, or if you just want them to be able to view it. As soon as you click share, it will send them an email with a link. As soon as they click on that link, it'll open up the video player for that evidence file and that evidence file alone. It does not require them to create an account or anything like that. You just click on the link, it'll show them the video, allow them to play it back, or allow them to even download it if you grant them those permissions. And then, like I said, once that link expires, nobody can access it.
Okay, good to know. Colin, we've been talking about setting up some of these programs. There's a lot of moving parts. What would I can imagine, some agencies possibly getting overwhelmed with just trying to figure out where to start. So what would you recommend as really the key points to think about when trying to implement a program like this?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, it comes down to your agency's policies. As we've mentioned a couple times, depending on the type of agency you are, where you may be located, you may have to follow suit with any local, state, or federal laws and regulations to ensure that your video program is in accordance with those. When it comes to other aspects, ultimately it's up to the agency, what they want, what they need. Do you need body cameras? Do you need in-car video systems? Do you need both? How do you want them to work? Do you want to be able to live stream or use any of the other features we've talked about? Ultimately, those decisions are up to the agency, but keep in mind, our team here at Kustom Signals is always available to help you along the way. We're here to answer any questions you may have. We're here to provide recommendations if you're unsure, or work with you on every step of that process to ensure that what you get is what you need and what you want out of these systems.
Yeah, so talk a little bit more about that, Colin. We've been talking about, regulations. It's a big country. There's a lot of regulations all over the place. So can your team help a particular agency, say, come in, you were just talking about it will look like how the agency wants it to look. So do you help them out with like an a la carte type of selection? Here's our bullet point list of this, and how does that work?
So when agencies are interested in pursuing a video program through Kustom Signals, we have a set standard default configuration for both devices and for the software. And those default configurations, they were designed based on all of the historical data that Kustom Signals has from working with agencies since 1987 on video systems. We developed those based on, like I said, averages and standard configurations or similarities that we've noticed throughout the years to ensure that they cover the majority of any agency's needs. And then from there, agencies can make specific decisions as for how they want the devices to be configured for different features, access levels, roles, permissions, everything like that. Again, it's ultimately up to the agency to make those decisions, but we're here to help you every step of the way.
Okay. You just mentioned 1987, and I'm just thinking, things stored on magnetic tape and everything. So what has been the biggest changes that you've seen since that point? The most exciting developments?
Well, I have not been around since 1987, but as for some of the bigger changes that I've noticed in the past 3 to 5 years or so is there is definitely more of a societal push for body cameras across all agencies. That's something that, yes, these products, they've been around for 10 plus years or so, but it's really only within the past few years that our society, our communities are really pushing more for body-worn cameras over anything. And the reason for that is they capture everything that the officer sees. They ensure that officers are safe and protected at all times, and they also ensure that the communities that officers serve are safe and protected by capturing all that video evidence, regardless of the time or day or what may be going on with any specific incident.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, we're just about out of time here, but I want to thank our presenters, Kiefer, Colin, Dale, and Michael, for joining us here today. Fantastic presentation. I certainly learned a lot. We also want to thank our sponsors, Kustom Signals, for being here as well. And presenters, thank you so much for joining today and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Time for us to wrap up, everyone. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but have a great rest of your day.